My team is very, very busy. As a company, we buy more than 10,000 raw materials in over 100 countries. So you can imagine the complexity we manage already in a normal situation. So when it happened and kicked in China, we were immediately in a crisis situation. But you need to have a good team in place before a crisis starts. It's not really useful of starting to build an expert team when you are in a crisis.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by experts, and they got on with it. My job is to make them successful, to take away barriers, and to just let them do their job. I'm not asking every day for long updates and reports in PowerPoint, because by the time I get this, not valid anymore, and it would not be a good use of resources. So they are very busy, but coping, and surprisingly coping well, in spite of the fact that they don't meet, in real life, but they do everything virtually. But it works. It's great.
Yeah, sure. And you also carry the sustainability mantle. You're Chief Sustainability Officer and CPO. Some of the calls we've had have reflected how some of these bigger projects are taking a bit of a backseat in order to cope with the crisis and to reimagine what procurement's working on a day-to-day. Are there conflicts for you, or do you see sustainability still as a huge priority?
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. But in my view, sustainability is a journey. It's a long-term journey. And you cannot, because of a crisis, drop the things because you go backwards too long.
Sure.
So we keep it on front of our priorities. And sustainability and procurement in our company is very closely related, because if you, for instance, would look at procurement, you relate it very closely to supply chain, because there is a physical exchange and transport of goods. But at the same time, when you buy raw materials, you cannot dissociate this anymore today from doing the right things for the planet. And this cannot be stopped because of a crisis. So we definitely keep a very strong focus to this. Now, sustainability takes an extra effort, and it is also costing extra money, because things have to be done in different ways. And at the same token, I also think that procurement are the best people placed, to manage this, because we know the price of things, and we also know what it would cost if it is additional effort for sustainability. So I think going forward, sustainability procurement is something that becomes as logical as procurement and supply chain.
Sure, but I mean, and that makes sense, and I get that it's a long-term goal and initiative, and you can't afford to park it because you'll go backwards. But are there conflicts with some of the day-to-day decisions you're needing to take in terms of nailing down on cost given the situation we're in, the risk factor maybe as well, and the sustainability? I mean, do conflicts come into play there, or do you not see that?
I'm not gonna say it's not without challenges, but in the end, we in the company, we define a purpose, a long-term goals on what to do. And
yeah.
This has been ingrained in the decisions that you take. And we support that. So what's important, I think, is that you create transparency, clarity, you set your priorities, and you have a roadmap. So you bring visibility. And then, obviously you have to manage priorities. But that doesn't mean that we go back 2 years because we are 3 months in a crisis. There is a build-up to establish this, and that takes years, and we want to stick to that because we assume the responsibility of this towards our clients for their claims. So it's not something we can just drop because it's not a priority today.
Sure. Innovation. I know we've spoken about innovation and supplier-enabled innovation at some length in the past. I know that you've invested in that area. Is this a similar story to sustainability? And I know they're entwined as well. You can innovate through to sustainability. You can also innovate through to cost, to take out costs, and innovate to bring new revenue. But is innovation for you as important as it has been, and what wins have you had along the way?
I think the world we're living in today, the challenges we have, innovation has never been so important. You know, supplier innovation, enabled innovation is critical. If you look at the company, we have a few hundred people working in innovation inside the company. If you take the full supply base, you have thousands, if not 10,000 of people working in innovation. Yeah. So if you would not be capitalizing on that resource lake of innovative ideas, it would really be a shame. So when I started my CPO role 5 years ago, the first thing I did is to hire a dedicated innovation person into procurement. Because historically, the relationship of procurement and suppliers is often acted towards the best possible price, logistic, optimization of the value, etc. But innovation has to become a critical part. And if you have this separate discussion, you get much more out of it. You avoid any kind of conflicting discussions. Sure. And I'm very happy to see, you know, that this was very successful. We cannot do this with all our suppliers because that just the magnitude is too big. So we have done it in a very selective way. We have shared openly with the suppliers our unmet needs, and we had great success with that. So innovation for me is by the definition part of procurement organization. You know, COVID has turned around everything upside down. But I also look at it like a huge opportunity, because today we are capable to do things that we never felt were possible. We work from home full time. Let's imagine in the future that we will work 1 day a week from home. That means that the people working in the office have 20% need less 20% office space. How do you deal with that in asset management? The obvious one is the travel. You know, we travel much less. So what does that mean going forward? Do we still need to go flying all over the world for a 1-day meeting? Or should we change that? You know, asset management, travel, all audits to suppliers that were done in person in the past are done today by video. Negotiations. I just finished 2 weeks of mid-year negotiations with suppliers. Normally, these are marathon meetings in the office where everybody flies all over the world. We have done everything by video. So, you know, it works. Is it perfect? Not always, but these are opportunities and situations that we would have never been able to implement without the crisis. And we have to learn from that, because the new norm going forward is not going to be the way we worked before.
Sure, yeah. And those negotiations, you say, you know, they weren't perfect, but I mean, you know, how much of a sacrifice did you have to make for that? I mean, is it a relationship sacrifice? Is it, do you not feel that you may have got as good a deal as you might have done if you'd been able to, you know, see them face to face? I mean, what is that sacrifice?
You know, in procurement, you have a relationship management aspect like you have in sales. And, you know, that is something that will have to be maintained. But I don't think that the outcome of the negotiations and the meetings have been so much different than doing it by video than in real life. Yeah. So yes, obviously in the future we'll have to maintain these relationships, but we don't maybe have to meet as often as we did in the past. And again, maybe we have to do it in a selective way, learn from what we have gone through over the last 3 months, exchange with them what works well and what works less well, and build on that to move forward. You know, it's an advantage for both parties, so it's a win-win for everybody. I
like your display of art, by the way, Willem. What's going on there? Are you a collector or?
No, I'm an amateur, so don't read it too closely, because it's just stuff that I took over from trips left and right. So. Let's not zoom in. Let's not zoom in
on it. No, it looks very impressive. All right, Willem, it's been great to catch up, as always. Good luck with everything. And, you know, the sustainability story is a great one, and great to hear you talk passionately about that. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, we meet soon. And thanks for reaching out. And also thanks for doing all these great things every week. I love it. And when I can, I attend and I learn a lot. So thanks for your support.